My dear colleagues and friends in Greece, I wish I was there with you tonight, but unfortunately, I have to be in Palestine. I'll be coming next month, and I hope to see you all again. Firstly, I would like to greet you, my Greek comrades and friends, and to thank you for your sustained solidarity with our Palestinian people, who are facing, particularly in the Gaza Strip, a new Holocaust by the Israelis occupying regime, and as well in some refugee camps, villages, and cities in the West Bank that is supported totally by the United States of America with the blind, hypocritic eyes from the EU with their usual double standard vision. Now, and aware from the death tolls that I'm sure you are well informed about on daily basis and the unhuman crisis that is going on in Gaza, I want to tell you that according to the plan what's going on now in Gaza, mentioned by the CNN via satellite, Israel has completed the crossroads towards the sea that divided Gaza Strip north and south in the Gaza Valley area with a width of about 7 kilometers. The current step is to use large quantities of mines and highly explosive materials, of course, American made, to blow up the remaining homes and infrastructure that was built by us, the Palestinians, in several areas in northern Gaza in the past decades. Also, the wide road from this area to the sea cuts off the city and turns it into isolated residential squares. And it seems to coincide with the American project to build a floating port of humanitarian aid, between brackets, as they say, but I'm sure that there are some other objectives of this floating American port that will be built very soon on the Gaza shores, maybe for the issue of the Palestinian gas, and as well to increase the American spots in the Eastern Mediterranean for the issue of sustaining the American hegemony in face of the growing new forces in the wars towards a new world order. At the Gaza level, Israel is reactivating the occupation structure that existed until 2005 before withdrawing from Gaza and the northern West Bank unilaterally at that time, including the main roads, corridors, and streets prohibited to Palestinians, and in the same places where they were until the aforementioned withdrawal. According to all statements, and essentially according to what is happening on the ground, Israel is establishing a structure for sustainable occupation again in the Gaza Strip in conditions that are fundamentally different from what it was until 2005, as the Gaza Strip is no longer a Palestinian population extension nor a Palestinian geographical unit. Rather, the goal is to prevent the return of the displaced people, and who returns will not find a sustainable and suitable place to live at. And this is a measure that has been in effect since 1948. You remember, of course, the first Nakba that took place, catastrophe at that time, and the creation of the refugee issues, which is still defined as temporarily, while work is currently being done to end it along with the UNRWA. Netanyahu and his government and the war cabinet are threatening to storm Rafah city and the Salah ad-Din axis, Philadelphia, and we estimate that this is a negotiating function to blackmail Hamas and the Palestinian resistance, as well as to blackmail Egypt in order to put pressure on the Palestinian resistance. However, worthy Israeli assessments confirm that Rafah is not a strategic issue, and its invasion may constitute a strategic Israeli dilemma with Egypt. While the real strategic interest is focused on northern Gaza, as I mentioned. This means that there is no room at all for thinking about a comprehensive deal that ends the war or the aggression, but only about a partial and temporary deal after which the war continues, during which Israel does not withdraw and the displaced people do not return. Rather, in the best of cases, talk about the return of the displaced without the comprehensive definition. In fact, before the truce, Israel will have completed with the intention of controlling the remaining in Gaza a sustainable occupation and not just a military operation that will end. The problem is in the international and Arab readings in this regard. The international readings leads to a focus on humanitarian aid while the Arab readings emphasize the results of the negotiations regarding the deal and the truce and the round the clock rushing after the details that have become a series of distractions for the Palestinians and Arabs, while the plans on the ground confirm the continuity of the Israeli occupation and seeking to end Gaza as a single geographical unit for its people. There is a reading of the Palestinian Authority which acknowledges the catastrophic situation and seeks joint Arab action that has an international impact versus a strategic Israeli effort to completely undermine it as part of the effort to eliminate Gaza and consider this an issue that only tolerates a military solution. The second problem relates to the extent of perception of the American project regarding the floating port in the context of bringing in humanitarian aid and the declared intention to bring 2 million meals a day into Gaza. And Israel is protecting the port. That is security responsibility in partnership with the American army. And talk about examining aid in the Israeli port of Ashdod, where they will examine all the laws before going to Gaza in this Israeli port, where we are not sure that the American army will not enter Gaza, of course. It is noteworthy that the wide road that the Israeli army is building from the southeast of Gaza City to the sea also falls within the engineering of what is called the humanitarian aid routes to the northern Gaza Strip and is geographically consistent with what Israeli Foreign Ministry Israel Katz put forward to the European leaders regarding an artificial island opposite Gaza to be constructed. Displacement of the Palestinians or displaced Palestinians reached from the northern Gaza Strip. Moreover, there is a lot of talk about the arrangements regarding northern Gaza, which indicates international recognition that northern Gaza has become separated from the south and that establishing an integrated structure exclusively for the north in the context of humanitarian aid, as I said, means the continued presence of the occupying Israeli army in the Gaza Strip. It also means that the American humanitarian aid structure may be substructure occupation control of the current Israeli plan for Gaza. This American project comes against the backdrop of supporters of Netanyahu government preventing the entry of trucks from the Kerem Shalom and Rafah crossings, with the Biden administration taking advantage of its ability to impose the ban. The Palestinian factional political discourse in another distant valley speaks as if the situation remains as it was in the 7th of October. And the Palestinians have no choice but to wait for the division to be overcome. I mean, the Palestinian division, political division, while the Gaza Valley has become a border for the movement of Gazan Palestinians, at least in the foreseeable future, more like the occupation wall in the West Bank, essentially featuring political and demographic geography, and it is being built on the ruins of the urban presence and forcibly displaced population Palestinians' presence, which carries out the occupation with the intention of repelling and blocking all roads to its return. To sum up, at the end, the Palestinian Arab reading of the fundamental accelerating Israeli steps on the land of Gaza, which is changing its features demographically and geographically, is still lacking in seeing the real picture and is focused on the details and not the major ongoing changes. Another thing, there is a necessity in demanding that the United States impose the entry of international and Arab aid by land, land crossings, and not submit to Israel conditions as the Gaza Strip is a Palestinian region, not an Israeli one. Third, taking firm stances and launching a presence campaign on the Biden administration and sub Europeans to stop supplying Israel with ammunition, military support, and explosive mines that the latter uses to comprehensively destroy the necessities of life in Gaza and even impose a ceasefire. This is what's going on in these days. And of course, this is part of the genocidal aggression that still is going on in Gaza Strip against our people uh, for serving the issues of displacing our people from Gaza Strip as well from some villages in order to serve the image and the ideas and the beliefs of the Zionist religious project for them. Thank you very much. I thank you again for your firm solidarity and continuous support. And of course, this is a mutual cause for all progressive people in the world, for all the democratic forces to end this genocidal aggression on Gaza and as well to end the Israeli occupation that started in 1967 in order we can proceed in building our independent, sovereign Palestinian state on the borders of before the 4th of June 1967 with Jerusalem as capital. This is the only road for peace, security, and stability for all people, not only in our region, but as well for your region as well. Thank you, my comrades.